Hey everyone, I'm back once again with the Losi 5T. This is going to be my second attempt of trying to downgrade the exhaust system. On this used truck, it came with a tuned pipe, it works great, but it's ear-piercingly loud, and in the previous video I tried downgrading to one of these canister mufflers. It didn't fit, so I have a different one from a different manufacturer. We're going to see if that is going to quiet this truck down. Before I do that though, I've got the stop switch on the engine is stuck in the off position, so I'm going to be replacing that. That's really straightforward, but the cool part is I'm going to share my secret for getting access to the back engine cover without completely removing the engine. All this coming up in this video. Thanks for joining me on Adventure RC1. My name is Greg, and let's dig into getting this truck fixed up so we can take it out in the backwoods for a proper rip. We're gonna notice right away that I've got the air cover off and the filters off. I thought since I'm going to be working on the truck, this would be a great opportunity to take those filters off and give them a good wash. So those are actually set off to the side drying while I'm working on the truck. So first of all, the stop switch. I run the truck in a sandy area. There's a lot of fine grit, and I think that got into the switch and it's locked in the off position. The new one looks pretty much like the old one. Instead of yellow, it is red. And what I really liked is it came with this little red silicone boot to go over the top. Hopefully that's going to keep a lot of the dust out and have this switch last a lot longer. Replacing the switch is easy enough. There's only 2 wires, so it's really hard to mess up. But getting access to the switch, that's a little bit different story. So I'm going to share with you how to free up this engine just enough to get this back plate off so that we can easily get the new red switch installed. I'll get any muffler parts out of the way. Checking out the bottom of the truck, I've got the back, here's the front, and I'm only going to remove the back 2 motor mounting screws. The 2 front mounting screws, I only need to loosen those up about halfway. I've got a 2x4 stuck underneath here so it doesn't roll off the table again. So now the engine has a little bit of wiggle room for it, and it's going to make it a lot easier to get a wrench on the remaining screws. And check that out, it pops right out. Get some of the pine needles out of here. Since I'm down here, I'm going to clean the mounting pads for that plate that I just removed. And check out this towel, pretty cool. Here's the old crusty switch, does not work. Here's the new one. Ooh, nice and smooth. And I just had that little red boot. Oh, put it on top of the engine. I'll get this on there, and hopefully that is going to keep some of the sand and dust out of this switch so it lasts much longer. I'll get the rest of this all buttoned up before we take a look at the exhaust system. The stop switch is all replaced and the truck is now ready to start up. And if you're wondering why I reattached the tuned pipe of the exhaust even though it's going to be replaced, I want to do a before and after test. I loaded in a decibel meter on my smartphone, and I want to do a sound check on this with this aftermarket pipe on here. I did this in the last video and it topped out at about 100 decibels, which is crazy loud. But then I realized when I was holding my phone, I was cupping near the microphone that was also facing away from the truck, making it even quieter. So I'm going to rerun that test and see if this truck isn't even louder than 100 dB. Fingers crossed, everybody, that this is going to be the last time I have to wear earplugs when I'm running the Losi 5T. Little backstory on these is I couldn't find these the other month, and I thought I'll go out in the backwoods. It's in kind of an open area, and I'll run it for about 5 minutes. The truck's going to be about 50 feet away from me, and after the 5 minutes, I had to shut the truck off because my ears were ringing, and my hearing was not right for about a week and a half after that. That is just how loud this truck is when it's running a tuned pipe. hopefully when we get this new canister type on, we'll find that it's a lot quieter, even though it's going to rob a lot of throttle response and a lot of power from the engine. To me, it's going to be worth it if I can run without these blasted earplugs. Greg, did you put the air filters back on? Of course I put the air filters back on. Before I start this up in just a second, let's get a baseline reading. Pretty quiet. Been a little bit, and this is all cool enough to touch. I'm going to get this tuned pipe off, and fingers crossed that this new pipe will fit and clear the linkage for the throttle. Just relax, little truck. Nobody will think any less of you for having a little less exhaust system on you. All right, so with the muffler, I've got a gasket and 2 bolts like I normally would, but there's another gasket and 2 bolts and mounting hardware. So I'm thinking somebody else had bought this too, and it didn't work out, and they sent their original mounting hardware for their can or muffler that they were replacing. Now, curious minds like me want to know how far off this is. Oh, it's kind of threading in, but it is definitely not lined up correctly, and I don't want to risk messing up the engine block. I started thinking creatively to try and find a solution for this, and one of the things I could do is take a drill bit and try and remount these holes a little bit wider, because I don't need a whole lot, but you know, on the inside of these mufflers, there's kind of this long tube that goes from one end to the other, so widening the holes out or making them bigger is going to be a little bit more difficult, and I'm pretty sure I can't return the muffler once I start drilling through it. The other thing that I have is a gas leaf blower. Here's the muffler from that, and this hole pattern looks like it matches a lot better up to here. The caveat is the screws for it is this heavy coarse thread. It's not a machine thread like the engine block is designed to take. I put these in there, and they just barely poke through the other side. Just a little bit of the screw pokes through, so I'm wondering if I can't find a longer screw. Well, I went for it and I got it mounted up. I took a drill bit and tried to enlarge the holes as best I could. There wasn't a whole lot of wiggle room in there, but sent the bolts in there, and I think it's going to hold up tight to the engine. Before I did that, I went on the internet and tried finding a direct replacement for the muffler for this 32cc engine, and after about 5 minutes, I didn't find anything that really looked like it was going to match up to the bolt pattern. Anything that looked remotely close didn't look like the form factor was going to fit in here correctly, so that's why I went ahead and just sent the 2 bolts in there. And I think the next thing is I'll take this back outside, start it up, and we'll check it again with the sound meter. I reset the decibel meter so we can just see me talking, and the max is at 77. We'll get the engine started and take another reading. Yeah, I moved everything inside because the sun was playing games with me. It was ducking in and out of cloud cover, making it really difficult to pick up the screen. So here we are. The max reading was just under 97 decibels. And while it doesn't seem like that's big of a change from the 102 that we had before, with these sound meters, that's actually a huge change. I was able to run with the canister muffler without any earplugs in, and it's as loud as something like a weed whacker or a leaf blower. If you know why I'm having such a difficult time trying to find an aftermarket canister muffler for the Zenoa G320 engine for the Losi 5T, let me know, and others by leaving a comment down below. I wouldn't think that finding a muffler for this engine, this really popular engine, would be so difficult. In fact, even this aftermarket tuned pipe, even the 2 mounting bolts, there's kind of something funny going on with that. So I don't know if I've got an oddball engine or I'm just totally missing something. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to get the body on the truck and take this out in the backwoods for a proper rip. That was a lot of fun running some hot laps out in the backwoods. It's a lot more quiet, and I don't have to wear any of these earplugs when I'm out there or around the truck anymore. A couple other things that I noticed that I knew were going to happen when I changed out from the performance tuned pipe to the no performance canister muffler is the throttle response on here is nowhere near what it was with the tuned pipe. This seems a little bit more sluggish. Along with the top end power, it feels like I'm missing about 30% power, and normally I wouldn't want to give that up, but as we saw in the backwoods, it's mostly sand and there's not usually a whole lot of traction. So having less power, I personally found that I had better control over the truck. Honestly, I'm not really good at running these around. What you didn't see off the camera off to the side was I did wipe the truck out a couple of times. I did a couple of barrel rolls. Actually, I think I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 barrel rolls on it. And in one of the high-speed passes, I did just kiss a truck and it sent the truck like 3 feet up in the air, and it did a pretty cool pirouette before landing down, and I checked the truck out, and it does have a couple more creases and cracks to the body, and I think I'm getting closer to looking at the body kit for the 30 Degree North truck. That is made out of a different type of plastic, much thicker, a lot more flexible, and that basically will not dent and it will not tear and it will not rip. In fact, there's a lot of Losi 5T owners that go and purchase that 30 Degree North kit. So I'm still eyeing up that truck over at Fearless RC, which I'm not associated with. That's just where I go when I want to daydream about large-scale RC trucks. Thanks for joining me in this video, and don't forget to give it a like or subscribe to the channel. Not only is it a great way to help this channel grow, it's an awesome way to connect video content like this with other RC enthusiasts just like yourselves. And until I see you again in the next video, I'm Greg from Adventure RC1.